when reading material at a higher level. But are the learning tools relevant in just one or only a few markets, or they are a global phenomena? Learning tools have a global appeal. If we go for some case studies, we come to know through that. For your kind information, we have our regular tweet meet tips on Tuesdays, which are there for different languages, which you can listen to or go through them, and the immersive reader, which serves as a pronunciation drill, is there in different languages. It's global. It's there in English, Chinese, Dutch, Italian, Spanish, Swedish, Thai, etc. As an example, you can have a look at this slide. A quote, "Tech gives the quietest student a voice." To know more about it, you can go to www.onenote.com/learning-tools site also. Going ahead, talking about the learning tools which are available in OneNote. Microsoft Learning Tools are free tools that implement proven techniques to improve reading and writing for people regardless of their age or ability. How do they help? Point 1, improves comprehension. Tools that read text out loud, break it into syllables, and increase spacing between lines and letters. Secondly, encourages independent reading. A teaching aid that helps teachers support students with different abilities. Learning Tools Immersive Reader creates a reading experience that adds accessibility and comprehension for learners of all ages and abilities. You can learn more about this on the Learning Tools website. Leveling the playing field with Microsoft Learning Tools. Again, as a case study, Learning Tools as a third-party research study showed that when applied on 4th grade students, 6th to 8th grade students, and 10th to 12th grade students, it improved the reading comprehension scores, writing was improved, non-cognitive processes were improved, and equal access of materials was supplied. The full report could be viewed at the link which is going to be shared. Right now there in the slide it is there. As a universal quote, I would say, nearly all of the study teachers mentioned how learning tools enabled their readers, regardless of skill level, to access content aimed at a higher reading level. In this case, access means comprehension of the content that had previously been unavailable. There are some new announcements through Microsoft. The accessibility tools are available in your Outlook. Read Aloud support to Outlook in over 40 languages. That is huge. In Word, learning tools to Mac and iPhone Read Aloud in 10 new languages. In our OneNote Immersive Reader for iPad and Mac users, Office Lens Immersive Reader for Android, Edge Immersive Reader for reading view and syllables, and parts of speech for EPUB and reading view. Writing efficiently with dictation editor and Read Aloud. I would say our pupils all pretty much without exception hate writing. The learning tools transformed writing for our pupils, which is very well said by Jan Lusty, the head of school at No Hill. If you look at this particular slide, as you can see, the teacher has scribbled for him because writing is a torturous task for him. It is pretty illegible and a very slow process. He then used the learning tools to actually write his story. This child was able to write this entirely independently, removing the embarrassment of having an adult looking over his shoulder. He could type and then use the immersive reader to read it back to himself. If he chose the wrong word from the spell check menu, he would realize his mistake when he had it read back to him again. His output increased dramatically, and according to his own words, he said, "Using OneNote has made me work quicker. No one has to tell me when I have written something wrong. The computer does it by showing me or when I listen back using immersive reader." It is very difficult to develop the higher thinking skills needed for creative writing if you can't write your thoughts down. So as another example, you can see that it is a story planning sheet for an 11-year-old girl. Fluency in transferring thoughts to written word is improved. Pupils have found it easier to transfer thoughts to typing or using a laptop or a computer. Using immersive reader increased independent working. So pupils were able to hear their own work whilst the words were highlighted. It increased self-confidence with creative writing. Immersive reader was able to read their work to the rest of the class, which motivated them. This meant they could share their work without being embarrassed about their own reading skills. Understanding words help me write stories, said this girl. OneNote has given me confidence in writing. I like the talk back. It is easier to type than to write. It is less stressful than writing on paper. OneNote helps me to notice my spelling mistakes when it talks back and highlights the words at the same time. What do we need as an educator? Educator needs are teaching students to write. We all agree with it. Fixing everything is not productive. Encourage students to choose what's most important. Tackling everything at once can be overwhelming. We want tools to let students self-assess their writing, clearly see to what work on, and useful to have a scorecard for student-teacher conversations. Going ahead, as educators, when we check what is the first thing, that is the spellings, the spelling check. Let's take a look at some of the challenges people with dyslexia face when trying to spell check a document. Spelling check software typically shows a list of spelling suggestions when you right-click or tap on a flagged word. Now, there are several different reasons why people with dyslexia have difficulty selecting a correctly spelled word from that list. Firstly, they have difficulty perceiving the difference between similarly spelled words and determining which of them are correct. We come across such words in our day-to-day lives. This can be due to visual attention challenges, challenge remembering spelling rules, absence of visual memory tracing the correctly spelled word. It hasn't helped that office spelling menus have only shown suggestions themselves without any context to help choose the right word. Secondly, having too many choices slows down the decision-making process and causes decision fatigue. This is known as Hick's Law and applies to everybody. But it is especially pertinent to people with dyslexia who have more difficulty with, firstly, reading speed and accuracy, secondly, slower processing time. In the past, office spelling menus have shown up to a smaller number of highly likely suggestions for the most common error patterns. Therefore, it often did not have suggestions for unusual error patterns such as these. Then we have the learning and the tools which are available for our use in Office. Number one is Office Lens on iOS, which allows the users to take a photograph of printed text in a textbook, for example, and converts the printed text to digital content that they can view in an immersive reader with increased spacing and have that content read aloud. Learning tools, which is in Word and OneNote on various endpoints and helps people improve their reading skills, including gifted learners, students with learning differences. It's been shown to improve learning outcomes associated with comprehension, decoding, and fluency. Dictate, another tool, which is a free add-in available for all Office apps that users can install on their device and use for speech to text. Next, we have Read Aloud, which is a feature that exists within Learning Tools and as a standalone feature in Word's Review tab, which allows everyone to easily have their content read aloud to them. Isn't it wonderful? Editor is our enhanced set of proofing tools that helps people of all abilities to write easy-to-read documents with more confidence. It does this by reducing the energy spent on low-level processing like spelling, to free up mental desk space for the higher-level cognitive tasks in writing, such as conceptual work, composition, and structure. So we have various examples in achieving wherein students have achieved more using the accessibility tools. Next, I would like to say that we have worked with the marketing to tell a story through the voices of people that have been impacted by the work. For example, Andrew, a young boy who read for the first time with learning tools. Justin, a young man who uses Office 365 to communicate with the world. Veronica, a student with low vision who created a perfect sway. Cameron, a university lecturer who believes it is an exciting time to be a blind person with seeing AI. Jack, a teacher who shows students what is possible with Office 365 and Narrator. Steve, who navigated a medical crisis with OneNote to access printed documents. These are some of the wonderful examples wherein these tools have been a boon to the readers, to the students, or not only students, to even adults. Last but not least, I would repeat our vision. We have affordances for a variety of disabilities out of the box at no additional cost. We are addressing hidden disabilities like dyslexia with learning tools in Edge and Dictation Anywhere. We are investing deeply in new features like eye gaze. Windows strives to enable the creator in everyone, dynamically adapting to our changing abilities, situations, and devices. We only need to grab the opportunities and make the most out of them. I would want you to understand their biggest challenges, which I assume are a lack of awareness and discoverable apps because they are not in the store. I'm aware of and sure there are many other Windows gaps too. But if we start working on these, there's no limit and we can reach out to as many as possible out there who need just a little hand to help them. I'll just pause for some time and look for some queries or questions around.
Thank you so much, Tohita. It was extremely helpful and just what we needed right now, because I think be it any curriculum, whatever we are teaching, these disabilities that we actually come across. First of all, it's very important for us to identify that a student needs a different sort of help from our side, and then to provide the needed help. So your session has really helped us to understand what all different tools are available from Microsoft, such as Immersive Reader, Learning Tools, Office Lens, and all of the other useful information that you've shared. So now the floor is open for you, all the audience.
That in our classrooms, we have those special learners with us.
Absolutely, and everybody has it, be it any school and any curriculum. It's absolutely not dependent on what we are teaching. In fact, every classroom has unique learners, and so we also need to provide unique solutions to each one of their needs. So I'm keeping the floor open for any questions or any queries that you may have. And please, we are here, and please do ask your queries. And I'm also displaying the promo codes here for you to redeem for today's session. So for Duhita, myself, and Minakshi, we have 3 promo codes on your screen, if you're able to see that. So please redeem these codes as a record that you attended today's session.
And I would humbly request and add on one last thing, that let's not leave these special learners just on our counselors. As a regular and a normal teacher within the classroom, as a classroom teachers also, let's start identifying these special learners and start working on them. It's never too late.
Absolutely. So any questions that you have regarding any of the information that was shared in today's session? I don't see any questions coming up in the chat window.
Yeah. That's it. I also am not able to see any questions.
So maybe we don't have any questions as such for today's session, but if in case later on when you're using learning tools or immersive reader and other features of OneNote and other technologies that we've shared today, if in case you need to ask anything, we are available, and you can drop in a message to us or email to us, and we'll be happy to answer that. And on that,
I see someone is typing.
okay, let's just wait for somebody who's asking question, and in the meantime, I will actually show you this particular slide that please do not miss next Tuesday's session, because it's going to be a very interesting session by Marjoline, and she's going to be our guest speaker, the expert speaker, who specializes in OneNote technologies specifically, and she's literally a master of that. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting and helpful session with Marjoline next Tuesday, which is going to be the 13th of February at 5:30 p.m. So it's going to be the Ask the Expert session. So if you have any specific questions regarding OneNote or any other Microsoft technologies, please keep them written, and do your homework, and when you come for the next session.
Yeah, we would request you, do not miss the session. It's a surprise, and it's very kind of her to be there as a guest. So it would be the best if you have penned down your queries beforehand only.
Yeah. So thank you so very much on behalf of both of us and on behalf of the whole team, the Pedagogics, and we will be logged in for the next 5-7 minutes. If in case you wish to leave, you don't have any questions, you may leave, and otherwise you may ask your queries.
Thank you so much everyone for joining us today.